Welcome back everyone, my name is Lee from Liver's Kitchen. Today we're making homemade mac and cheese. Doesn't that look good? So winter has now settled in and it's staying around and I feel like some mac and cheese. So let's make some mac and cheese today. And it's so easy, such staple ingredients and almost anyone can do it. So first I'm going to boil some pasta. So I've got a macaroni, straight macaroni here. You can use the elbow if you want, or you could use any pasta that you want. So this is a ½ kilo bag. I'm going to cook that now. So I've got some boiling water that's come to a rolling boil with some salt in it. And we're going to cook this for 8 minutes. So this says it cooks for 9 minutes. We're going to cook for a minute less because we're going to actually bake it in the oven as well. So we don't want it to be all soggy and everything. So that's why we're going to cook it for a minute less. And once that comes to a boil, I'll count down the 8 minutes. So with the mac and cheese, it's all about the cheese. So I'm going to use 3 different types of cheese today. You can use whatever you want. You can use just whatever's in your fridge. So if you've got a tasty cheese there, just use that. You don't need to go out to the supermarket and buy something specific for this. I'm going to do a few different cheeses. So I've got a cheddar natural slices, which is kind of like a American cheese, but it's in natural slices. That orangey cheese. Then I've got some Colby cheese, which is I think Colby Jack in some places. And that's a nice gooey cheese that melts, that is really nice. And then I've got some mozzarella here. I'm just gonna throw that in because why the hell not? So firstly, I'm just gonna preheat my oven to 180 degrees. And I think that's 375, or write it down below if it's not. And that's so we can bake our mac and cheese afterwards. So with recipes like this, I actually like to collaborate different types of recipes. So I don't have a set recipe that I actually follow. So I will take ideas from different recipes. So I might open maybe 4 different recipes, look them over, and I will get the best idea of what I want to do. And usually I don't follow any of those recipes at all, and I will just wing it. So I'll write down below the ingredients for this, and I'm going to show you how good it's going to turn out. So now I'm going to grate the cheese. So these slices came in pretty nice slices. I'm just going to chop these up, and that's just going to make it a lot easier to melt. And then we're going to grate our Colby cheese. So try and get it in the block, because you will find that they do use fillers in the grated cheese, such as potato starch or sometimes even sawdust to actually stop it from all clumping. Well, this is a plastic grater, it works amazingly. Someone heard the cheese packet open. He's patiently waiting for something from the bench. I don't understand, like every time I open the fridge and take out the cheese, he's already at the bench waiting. So now the pasta is now cooked. Now we're going to drain it. And a little tip is not to actually rinse this. So we want to keep the starch on that to actually hold it all together when we actually cook the mac and cheese. So don't rinse or anything like that. Just leave it like that, and it's going to turn out amazing. All right, so now we're going to make the sauce, and it is easy to do. So in that same saucepan that we cooked our pasta in, we're going to melt some butter. Just use the same saucepan. You can save in dishes. And we all like that. In a separate saucepan, I'm going to warm through my 4 cups of milk. And this just makes it so much easier when we go to actually make the actual cheese sauce. And it's less likely to clog up or anything like that. So now that butter has melted, now we're going to add our flour. And it was about 1/3 cup of flour. I usually do same ratio, so 1/3 cup of butter to 1/3 cup of flour. And we're just going to cook this out a little bit. So once you see the butter and flour start to turn almost like a white, that means the flour has been cooked out, and you're not going to have that floury taste in your actual end product. So now you can see this has gone really pale now, and that means the flour has now cooked out. So now we can start adding our milk. So I'm just going to do a couple of ladles at a time for now. And because we've warmed the milk up, it's not going to actually seize and go really lumpy. And if it does go lumpy, it's not the end of the world. It just means you're going to have to stir it a bit more to stir those out. Once it's nice and consistent, you can start adding more of the actual milk. So I'm just going to add the rest of it now. And we're just going to constantly stir this until it starts to thicken slightly. It's not going to fully thicken until we actually add the cheese. So it'll thicken just slightly. Just keep stirring to make sure it doesn't catch on the bottom of the saucepan. And we've got all that flour all dissolved. While we're waiting for that to thicken up, we're going to add our seasoning. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Keep in mind, cheese has got salt. And then we're going to add plenty of finely ground pepper. And obviously, if you like pepper, go for it. If you don't like pepper, just skimp it a little bit more. I like pepper in mine. Then we're going to add about a teaspoon of paprika. And this just adds a little bit of flavor and also color. So add about a teaspoon's worth there. And then I'm going to add some cayenne. So the cayenne almost gives like a warming background feel when you go to eat it. It doesn't actually make it spicy. If you've got kids or anything, maybe leave it out. But I'll add just a touch, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, not too much. Let's give that a stir, and you can see it's now thickening up now. So now is the time that we can add our cheeses. Now we're just going to stir this through. Just keep it on like a medium-low heat. Just let it just gently just start to melt. I almost forgot the mozzarella cheese. So I'm just going to let that just gently cook. And then once all that's melted, we're ready to assemble. So while that's melting down, I'm going to make a quick topping for my mac and cheese. And I like a breadcrumb topping. You could just put cheese on top if you wanted to. I'm going to put breadcrumbs. I love that crunch and gives you some texture as well. So I've got probably about a cup and a half of breadcrumbs there. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of melted butter to this. I'm just going to add just a little bit of salt because my butter is unsalted. And then we're just going to stir this right through. We just want to get all of these flakes of panko covered in that butter. And that's just going to make it just toast up beautifully in the oven. All right, so all that cheese is now melted down. You can see how gooey and delicious it is. Let's try it out. Let's see if it needs anything. So I'm going to add just a little bit more salt, a little bit more cayenne, and a little bit more paprika. Obviously, you can do this all to taste yourself. And that is our cheese sauce. And I'll tell you, this will go beautifully on some steamed cauliflower. So steamed cauliflower And then you pour this over it and roast in the oven. It turns out absolutely amazing. So if you want your kids to eat veggies, it's probably a good way. Cover it in cheese sauce. Now we're ready to add the macaroni or pasta that you've picked. We didn't rinse this, so it is a little bit stuck together, but that's to help with the binding when you go and bake it. And then we're all just going to stir this all together. Doesn't that look amazing? So I've just got a large Pyrex dish here. You can do it in any baking dish. I just like the Pyrex. I'm going to spray just a little bit of olive oil in it, just to help prevent any sticking with all that cheese. Then we're going to pour this goodness into here. Look at that. Honestly, it looks like a heart attack waiting to happen. A good one though. Alright, so now we're even that out. We're going to grab our breadcrumbs and we're going to sprinkle that on top. So now we're going to bake this in our oven for about 45 minutes to an hour until the top is nice and golden at 180 degrees, which is 375 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, and I'll see you back when it's done. All right, this mac and cheese has been in the oven for about 45 minutes now, and it's looking golden brown. Let's take it out. Whoa. I'm going to let that cool down for about 15 minutes because that's like molten lava, and then we are going to try it out. It looks bloody amazing. So let's dig into this. Doesn't this look so good? All right, let's give this a go. I'm holding out for this. Looks so good. Hands down, bloody beautiful. So you've got the crunch of that panko on top. It just gives it another texture to it. And it's so cheesy. You got just a slight spice from that cayenne, but it's not like spicy or anything. It just adds something to it. Almost just like warms it up. It is so good. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.